Here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Tuesday night. CP from KnicksFanTV, number one show for the fans by the fans. On tonight's episode, we're going to talk about some big Knicks coaching updates, including Kenny Atkinson's surprise second interview with the Knicks. And speaking of Kenny Atkinson, is he actually the defensive guru that the Knicks need? We're going to take a little bit of look at some film between Atkinson, Thibodeau, and Miller and do some defensive breakdowns. We're also going to talk about Mitchell Robinson's historic record-setting sophomore season. So let's get right into it. Phone lines are up 657-383-1509. As usual, hit that thumbs up button for your boys. Smash that thumbs up. All right, so this morning, breaking news came across the way by way of Jonathan Macri, friend of the program of Knicks Film School, who had announced that Kenny Atkinson interviewed with the Knicks last night. And it wasn't clear whether or not it was his third interview or a second. Last week, a lot of the beat writers had reported that the second round of interviews had been wrapping up. So we had assumed that everybody did have their second round interviews. We knew that Woodson did and also Tibbs. We didn't hear anything about Kenny, actually. We didn't know even if Kenny got its first interview. So when Macri broke the news, we had to confirm whether or not it was his second or third. Later on today, it was confirmed by Mark Berman of The Post and Steve Popper of Newsday that it was his second interview with the Knicks that he had yesterday on Monday night. So what does that mean for us? What does that mean for the Knicks? As usual, it's never a dull moment. We've been hearing all this time that Tibbs was the front runner, that it was 90% Tibbs. Every major outlet that you cover, that covers the Knicks has said that it's Tibbs. It's Tibbs' job to lose. But now Kenny Atkinson sneaks through the back door Monday night for a second interview. So what does that mean? Could be a couple things. Number one, is Kenny still being considered for the head coaching job? Is this a negotiating tactic? You know, Steve Popper of Newsday had also alluded to the fact that it's possible Tibbs could be holding out for maybe to see what happens with the Houston job, maybe to see what happens with Philly, maybe even Brooklyn. Who knows? I don't see it that way because it's such a long way between now and the end of the season. I don't think Tibbs would be holding the job up, and clearly the Knicks wouldn't be waiting on him for that long. So still a possibility that it could be a way to light a fire under Tibbs and get him to accept the job. But what I think it's likely, and from what Ian Begley is reporting this evening, Ian Begley is stating that sources around the league expect the Knicks to hire one of the head coaching candidates in the assistant coach's role. One of the head coaching candidates will be hired as the assistant. So what does that mean? Is it Tibbs and Woodson? Is it Tibbs and Kenny? Is it Tibbs and Mike Miller? Could it be three? Could Mike Miller be a third assistant along with Woodson and Tibbs? All right? Is it Kenny and Mike? Is it Kenny and Woodson? What do you guys think? Is it Woodson and Kenny? Woodson and Mike? What are you guys thinking? But according to Ian Begley, as of tonight, 6:22 p.m. Eastern, coaches around the league expect that several people briefed on the Knicks' thinking, is what he says. Expect them to hire at least one of the current head coaching candidates as an assistant on the next head coach's staff. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think about that? I think that would be good. I think that would be a good move. I think it's likely that it'll be Tibbs and Kenny. Remember, Kenny's still getting paid by the Nets after he got fired by the Nets. So a lot of people would say, well, why would he settle for an assistant coaching gig? Well, it'll be a nice high paying assistant coaching gig with the Knicks. You know, still a high top media market, still a lot of exposure for him to rebound until he gets to the job that he really wants. And then at the same time, you have the opportunity for player development and assistant Tibbs. Mike Woodson, we know, feels like his job was never finished. He still got a job to finish. Mike Woodson is on a mission to finish what he started here with the Knicks and Knicks taped the 54-win season until Phil Jackson pulled the rug out from under him and said, hey, if you're not running the triangle, you're not going to be suitable for this job, which you all know is a bunch of nonsense. So Woodson is motivated for this thing. And then what about Mike Miller? Took over for David Fizdale after a failure of a second season. Had the Knicks playing well, made some improvements, had the squad improving and playing a bit better under Miller's leadership. Then all of a sudden we have a pandemic, everything shifts out the window. His evaluation window gets cut short abruptly. But what we have heard is that the organization still feels very highly of him. Still has a lot of respect for him. So would that mean that they would consider keeping him in this assistant coach's role or another player development type role with the squad? So it's a lot to consider, man. It's a lot to consider. I want to hear from you guys right away. Let's get right to the phones. Jeremiah from Brooklyn, you up first, man. Jeremiah, how you feeling, man?
Hello.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, Jeremiah, you got to call back, man. You got to be ready, man. Let's go to Atlanta. Leroy, let's go. How you feeling?
Hey, CP. Strong Island. How you doing?
Strong Island in the building. How you feeling, bro?
I'm doing great. Hey, let's get straight at it. This is Tibbs' job, period. This is too much business. It's too much money. Tibbs is going to get this job, and I believe Kenny Atkinson is going to be his assistant. And I think that's a great move. I think Tibbs is a great coach overall because long term, we've got to have a coach that can build a winning system and building a winning culture. And I think in that regard, Tibbs is top of the line. Then I think Kenny Atkinson is probably will be the best assistant coach we could get at this time because he's proven that business development, player development, he's done an excellent job with that. And also, he's, of course, a New Yorker. He understands the culture. Both these guys were assistant coaches in New York, so they're perfect for understanding the culture of dealing with the New York, the media, the fans. And I think that means something at this point to Dolan. And I think that's a good team. What do you think?
Hey, I agree with you, Leroy. I think it's a good move, man, and thanks for the call, man. I think it's a good move. Listen, as Leroy said, if you go with a Tibbs and an Atkinson, you have two guys that have been here. They know what to expect as soon as they step into the fire, and they'll be ready for it. Atkinson already being here with Brooklyn, Tibbs obviously being here as an assistant under Van Gundy, under that Riley tree. Again, knows the pressure cooker of New York. When you go back to Leon Rose's statement and what he's looking for in a head coach, again, somebody that's going to command that respect in the locker room, somebody who, when these guys are game planning on the bench, all 12, all 13 guys are locked in on the coach. To me, that's a guy that's going to have experience and knows how to command a team. Again, whether or not people, the naysayers say, well, he's got to work on his player development or player relationship skills. Sure, I could definitely give you that point. But again, with Atkinson, we all know that his strength has been on the player development side, if nothing else, right? They do knock him on his X's and O's and so forth and feel like with the Nets, maybe that's the reason why Katie and Kyrie got rid of him. I'm still not so sure. But what we do know is from a player development side, from the players that we spoke to, Raymond Felton included, he seems to be praising Kenny Atkinson in that regard as well. When you also think about from Leon Rose's perspective, he wants a guy that will be collaborative with the front office. We all know that he and Tom Thibodeau go back a ways back. Tom Thibodeau also having some front office experience with the Timberwolves. Now, that may have led to his downfall, but I'm just saying somebody that has experience in a front office role as well, but also has that experience and that relationship with Leon Rose and Worldwide West. So it just leads me to believe that it's still going to be Tibbs when you think about those hints that Leon Rose has dropped. So I'm still thinking that it's going to be Tibbs with likely Atkinson as the assistant. But good call. Appreciate the call, Leon. Let's go to Brooklyn. Justin in the building. Justin, how you feeling, man?
I'm good, CP. How are you doing, brother?
Good, man. What's going on?
Wonderful, man. I just want to say big ups real quick for what you're doing on the show. You and Jay Ellis from the Nick of Time show, man. You guys are doing great things. But real quick, I just want to get to the coaching search. I think, like you said, it is Tibbs' job to lose. I don't really think they'll give Woody the job. I just don't see it. I would like to see him come back as an assistant coach. I'd also like to see Kenny Atkinson and Miller come back as an assistant coach. I think we need an offensive guy because Tibbs' offense is just not doable right now in the NBA. But I do think that Tibbs, Atkinson, and Woody, and Miller as well would be great for defense and building a culture of tough, hard-nosed players, getting back to that real New York basketball. And my last point, I would love to see, I know you spoke about this before, change of the logo and the uniform. How you feel about that?
Hey, if it leads to wins, I'm down for anything, man. I'm down for anything. You know, listen, like I said, in terms of logo and stuff, Knicks have kept it fairly classic. You know, they had the round ball Knicks logo. Now they've gone to the more triangular shape. You have the New York on top that they had, or back in the day they didn't have it. They're going to keep it kind of traditional. We'll see what Steve Stout and the marketing team comes up with in terms of jersey design. And speaking of jersey design, it was also announced today that Jordan Brand is branding the Jumpman logo on every statement edition jersey going forward next year. As a Knicks fan, that is terrible. Like, that is terrible, man. You want to tell me that the Knicks, the Pistons, everybody that Jordan just ripped their hearts out are going to have to wear that emblem of pain and lack of prosperity on their jersey? That's terrible, man. Scott Perry, Steve Stout, we got to file a petition, man. We got to file a petition on that one. We can't let that stand. New York, Detroit, we got to stand up. We can't let that stand, man. Not at all. Not at all. But Justin speaks on culture building, and listen, that's what we need, right? We're still in that process of developing this team, in the process of developing an identity, developing a culture. And again, this is why I don't see much parity between these coaching candidates, because I still feel like the team has to be built. The team has to be built in the mold and the vision of the coach. And then we need to let it cook. We need to let this thing cook and marinate, man. We don't give, listen, I know Fizdale was a failure, and rightfully so that he's no longer the coach. But we've got to give our coaches and our players some more leeway and let them marinate. You know, whether it's Tibbs, Atkinson, Woodson, doesn't matter to me. As long as these players buy in to their system, buy into their philosophy, we got to give them some time. Got to give them some time. But yeah, we can't have that Jumpman logo on the Knicks statement jersey, man. We need a change.org petition on that, because that's just abysmal. My guy Chris Shamus in the chat, I know he definitely agrees with me on that. He's not a fan of that, and I'm not a fan of that either. The Jordan shoes. Listen, I'm a little partial. I love Jordans. I'm not going to lie. I got a lot of Jordans in the closet right now, the 11s in particular. You know, the Nick color ones, I got a pair. I'm not going to lie. I got a pair in the closet, but the jerseys, that's going too far. So to everybody in the chat, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. We've reached 600 already in the chat. So salute to everybody in here. Let me shout out some people. Hospi checking in all the way up there in British Columbia. I got Raw Hebrew Remnant in the chat. Julio says no Jordan logo. I'm not with that at all. Triborough Gigolo in the building. How you feeling? John Talento always in here first. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Manny Ramos says, are those Knicks or Cavs colors? Manny, come on, man. There's only one orange and blue in this NBA, and everybody else is just imposters, all right? We've been around since 1946 in orange and blue, so that's it. That is the standard. So the Cavs, the Thunder, they've all tried to copy. Now, the Cavs joints, I like the Cavs joints in orange and blue. I'm not going to lie. But there's only one. There's only one. So I would like to see them come out with a black alternative. We'll see what those guys have in order. If you guys are new in the chat, leave me a hashtag new, and I'll shout you guys out. And let's get back to the phones, man. I want to hear from the fans tonight. Let's go to Camille from New Brunswick. I believe she called last time and couldn't get in. So, Camille, how you doing?
Doing good, CP. How's everything going on your end?
Good, man. What's going on?
All right. Congratulations on the commercial, by the way.
Thank you, man.
But just want to talk to you about Tibbs, man. He's my number one choice, 100%. I think he's the perfect coach for us. I think what the holdup is, though, is that Tibbs seems like the type of guy that wants to have his own type of coaching staff. Maybe he's the one that's holding out on maybe us trying to say, let's add Kenny Atkinson or Mike Miller or Woodson. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, the coach should definitely. I mean, a coach of Tibbs' caliber should definitely have that respect to build his own staff. Maybe it's a collaborative approach. Maybe it is a collaborative approach between the front office and Tibbs to bring in an Atkinson or Woodson or a Miller or retain a Miller as an associate head coach. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not quite sure whose decision this is to bring in one of these head coaching candidates as assistant, but clearly Tibbs would want to be on board. Clearly Tibbs should be on board in order for that to pull through. Let's shout out Maya Cohen, Team #New. Shout out Maya. Shout out Justin Coleman, checking in on Team #New, checking in from St. Louis. We got Blaze Barrel, Team #New in the building. Special K checking in from the U.S. Virgin Islands. Salute Special K. We got Juan Texidor checking in, Team #New. So somebody checking in from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Shout out to Brazil checking in. We worldwide, man. Jordan Joseph, what's going on? Chris G to G Styles, Team #New. We got a lot of new people in here in the family. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. Always support us. Definitely appreciate it. MYK Vision, Team #New. Welcome. Jao Victor, rocking the old school Islander logo, new from Rio de Janeiro. So shout out Jao Victor. All right, back to the phones. Let's go to Jersey City. Edward in the building. Edward, how you feeling, man?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Congratulations with your show. I just want to give my thoughts on the coaching search. My number one choice is Tom Thibodeau. I really like him a lot because not only does he have experience coaching here in New York as an assistant, but I really like the fact he makes the best out of what he has. I remember a lot of those years when they didn't have Derrick Rose, and he was able to find a way. He was able to find an offense where when there wasn't a lot of talented offensive players on the team. I remember one year when he would basically unleash Nate Robinson in the third quarter, and they would basically play it close. And then late third quarter, he unleashes Nate Robinson, and before you know it, they're up by 8-10 points, and they basically kind of cruise to a win. And so I just like how he's able to take advantage of what he has. He doesn't seem like the kind of person that would just because he doesn't have the talent. It doesn't seem like he's the kind of coach that just gives up and just gets frustrated. He always finds a way. My number two is Woodson because although people have some issues with his in-game decisions, I always felt that Woodson really knew how to come up with a game plan of he always came up with a good plan of how he wanted his teams to play. And so it's almost like you give him an off season. He comes up with a plan. He knows how he wants his team to play. And he just always came out with a good game plan every night. I mean, usually with the in-game coaching decisions sometimes wasn't always that great. I thought it was more than solid in my opinion, but I know some people complain about some of his decisions, especially during his last year. And Atkinson, I do give him, he is a good development coach, but my issue with Atkinson is that essentially it's I felt when he was with Brooklyn, I felt like he was being a little stubborn. If you guys remember, he did not turn it around until basically they threatened to fire him if he didn't turn it around. I kind of felt I don't remember everything that happened during that year, but I do remember how their style of play was a little different. And then as soon as he was in a hot seat, it's almost like he switched. I kind of felt like he didn't want to really make use of what he had. as though, it just I just felt like he didn't really make use of his talent, the talent that he had on the team much earlier during that year, and even the year before. And it wasn't only until they threatened to fire him that he kind of changed the game plan and the way he was coaching the team. And then they turned it around and started doing better. But that's my choice, and so I'm gonna get off the phone and see what you have to say about it.
Appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. Yeah, listen, I think, in terms of you saying Tibbs having a, run with what he had, you could definitely point to that Chicago situation with Derrick Rose being in and out due to injury. Obviously, they had that one playoff run with Nate Robinson at the helm back in 2013, and they certainly did well. Defensively, obviously, is where he shined in Chicago. But then you have Minnesota, where for 3 years you had a Timberwolves team that was hovering basically dead last on the defensive ratings, and so again, is that his scheme? It was that the personnel. They did get to the playoffs at one point when they had Jimmy, they had Taj, Jamal Crawford, and so on. They had a veteran stack lineup and were able to make it to the playoffs, which was good. And then that last season, things kind of fell apart from them early. So it's kind of hard to say, which Tibbs you're going to get. What is the proper scheme for this team? Can he make the proper adjustments? Will he make the adjustments in terms of minutes management? How much is he going to be willing to embrace analytics? You see the Knicks bringing in all these analytical figures in the front office. Part of that front office collaborative approach is going to be working with those guys. Definitely going to be working with those guys. I got into it with, not got into it, but had a spirited debate with one of the fans in comment section who, they don't believe in the analytics or any of the guys that they brought in, any of the number crunchers or nerds. And listen, I think there's a place in the game for it. Obviously the talent and the cream is going to rise to the crop. I always say that, but I think, listen, analytics are part of sports nowadays, whether we like it or not. So you got to hope that the organization uses those assets to their advantage. On Woodson, yeah, I agree. The knocks on Woodson have been in terms of his in-game adjustments. A lot of people didn't like how he coached that Pacers series where Knicks tape lost. On the flip side, you could point to the Knicks being, an excellent three-point shooting team that year. Led the league in attempts and I believe three-point percentage. And so Woodson, a lot of people point to his ISO-heavy offense, but he was an offense that emphasized letting that three fly. And so that was one of the advantages that the Knicks had in that year. And then he also pointed to Kenny Atkinson, who he felt like, and a lot of Nets fans felt this way as well, that Kenny just didn't make the proper adjustments to help the Nets win games. But I do think, just looking from the outside in, not having watched a ton of Nets games, but just looking from the outside in, that, I think he did play well with the hand that he was dealt. In terms of the personnel that he had, making the playoffs last year, 7th seed. Some people don't give him any credit for it, but listen, they made it. Knicks didn't make it. And they had Levert, Dinwiddie, Harris, Jared Allen. And they still were able to make it to the playoffs. Right now, they're sitting in 7th, going into the restart on the bubble. So, listen, I think Atkinson's impact on the team was felt. Maybe he wasn't the proper X's and O's guy. If he comes here as the head assistant, is that a situation where he gets a more X's and O's guy on his staff that can help him again, evolve as a coach. All right. So let's see. We appreciate the call, Ed. Salute to all the super chats that came in. Edward Stolen sends a super chat. He says, all defensive guys. Who's designing just like I said, who is designing the offense? Shane Mack from New Jersey sends us a super chat. He says, what's up, CP Knicks Nation? He likes Tibbs and Kenny. He's going with the Tibbs and Kenny ticket. Royal Hebrew Revenant says, Tibbs and bring in Harris and Bertans for shooting. Defensive identity is long overdue. I agree with you 100%. Michael Parker, number one fan of the show. Salute to Michael Parker. He says, salute CP. Salute to the chat one time for the mods. Salute to all the mods in there, Dave and TM. Make sure you guys are throwing the links in there to the mailing list. Remember, very important. I need you guys contact. Need a mailing list. We're building a website. Big things coming for Knicks Fan TV on the horizon. We're building a website, so we definitely need the mailing list to continue to just stay in contact with you guys. We want to be able to maintain this platform outside of YouTube. Never know what social media changes and how these things might affect the channel. So we want to be able to take that movement, put it on a website, and make sure that we have something of our own, something that we can be proud of. And that's the whole purpose of it. We don't give away your information. We don't sell your information. It's all for the purpose of staying in contact. All right. Are there super chats in here? Let me salute Money Mark. Money Mark S sends a super chat, and he says, Atkinson is the man for the job, but if not, I'm good with him and Tibbs. Keep Miller too. Salute CP and Knicks Fan TV. Salute Money Mark as well. And somebody had put their, I think Marvin Smith had put his email address in the chat. Marvin, don't put it in the chat. We're going to send you the link to actually input your information. So appreciate the, proactivity, but just give it a second. TM and Dave will drop the links in the chat, and we will capture your information. Let's go to the West Coast. Josh in San Diego up next. Let me click you on. Josh, how you feeling, man?
What's going on, CP? How you feeling today?
How you doing, bro?
Not much. You said something earlier that I disagree with, and that was that the David Fizdale era was a failure. Quite frankly, we didn't give David Fizdale enough time to even figure out whether he was a failure or not. The front office, completely did not get a good judgment on how that roster was supposed to be. We didn't have a balanced roster at all. David Fizdale was kind of like the fall guy for them not failing in free agency. With that being said, I hope the Knicks do not get Thibodeau as a head coach. I don't think he's really good at player development. What we need right now is a coach that can come in and develop our younger players, our younger talent. We have all of our draft picks. If we get Thibodeau, that is a sign of us basically going in free agency and basically gambling and doing everything that we've been doing for the past 20 years. I'm a big advocate of Mike Miller keeping his job. We need to get some type of consistency on the bench. We have not had that. Every 2 years, every year, we're getting rid of these head coaches. If they don't want to do Mike Miller, I would highly recommend Kenny Atkinson and Jason Kidd from the player development angle. I don't feel like Thibodeau is the right man for this particular job. Anywhere else in the league where there's veterans, I think it's fine. But for this particular Knicks situation, I don't think this Thibodeau is the right call. So I would go Atkinson or Kidd. Thanks a lot, CP.
Appreciate it, man. Salute to the West Coast. Salute San Diego. Josh, appreciate it. Listen, on my Fizz point, yes, I agree with you. They gave him some crappy hands, right? And in the game of cards, they gave him some crappy hands in terms of a roster. I still don't think he was able to maximize the talent on that team. And it was evident by the way that they played under Miller. You saw a more spirited team. You saw a better defensive team. The cohesion was way better. You saw better execution under Mike Miller. You didn't see that under Fizz. You didn't see those after timeout execution under Fizz. You saw a more bewildered and puzzled Fizdale than anything else. Should they have given him a little bit more time? Maybe, but all I'm saying is I didn't cry about them firing him. Yes, I do want to see more stability with the coach and more patience with the coach. But I'm not going to cry over Fizz. I'm not going to cry over Fizz, Obviously, you don't want to see anybody lose their job by any means, but I didn't think he was particularly good at much with this team, even though he didn't have a lot to work with, because as soon as Miller took over, he made those adjustments. They stopped switching as much. He went into drop coverage on the defensive end, and they were much better for it. I think they were much better for it. I think with the personnel that Fizz had, not having the proper defensive awareness out there, I think some of his defensive concepts just wasn't right for the personnel. And I think Miller simplified it, and that's why they started playing a little bit better. So, and, on your comments on Tibbs, listen, I think that's a righteous concern. For people to think that when Tibbs is here, that they're going to speed this thing up and try to get aggressive in terms of getting him a proper team that he can work with. I tend to agree. While I do want to see them take the right steps to putting a more cohesive team on the court, if they bring in Tibbs, I think they will try to rush things a bit and just hope they don't, gamble away the future, really. You just hope they don't gamble away the future, so mortgage away the future. But appreciate the call from Jeff. All right, who else we got here? We have, how many people we got in the chat? Almost 800. We are creeping up on 800. What do I want to give away tonight? I feel like I'm giving away something every night. I got to move the bar up. All right, we are at 800. We've cracked 801. So make sure you hit that thumbs up button for your boys. Definitely want to do that. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. CP from KnicksFanTV here, #1 show for the fans, by the fans. Remember, this show is available in audio podcast format: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Amazon Alexa. Salute to everybody that is new. 30 cities in the chat also. Let us know where you're checking in from. Leave your cities in the chat and let us know that you are in here. What do we want to give away tonight? I think these are dope. But we got to set a bar. How many likes we got? I think if we get to 1,000 likes, I'm gonna give these away, man. These are some Mitchell and Ness. I know you guys always like the 9697 jerseys. These are the shorts, brand new with the patch, official patch. Mitchell and Ness joints, 50th anniversary. You got the gold NBA logo. 9697, fresh. All right, let's see if we get 1,000 likes. This is going home to somebody, man. We get 1,000 likes. It's going home to a winner. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Size extra large. So we'll drop the links in the chat. Sign up for it, and we might have a winner here, man. Sign up for it, and we might have a winner. Let's see. We got some super chats coming in. Shout out to Dr. Blocktopus. $8 Australian super chat. Salute to everybody down in Australia. Always in here heavy. He says, Atkinson is my first choice, followed by Kidd or Woody. Keen to get more young talent. One in the draft, LaMelo, Jalen Smith, and Kmart Jr. So he wants Kmart Jr. in the guard and replicate what his pops was doing here. Okay. Salute to everybody in Australia. Justin Sweeney. Salute Justin Sweeney. Says a little support goes a long way. Really appreciate what you're doing. CP has been a great help mentally during the quarantine. Big up Shay Ellis and the crew. Appreciate it. Definitely appreciate that, Justin. We just do what we do. Try to have some fun with it. It's going to be a long road till Knicks basketball is back. So, just trying to do what we can to bring some levity, bring some happiness, and change up the scenery for some people. It's a tough time. A lot of people going through things out here. So, very, very tough time. All right, let's go to Mike from Jersey. Mike, how you feeling?
What's good, CP? Got a couple comments about the coaching situation. I feel like Tom Thibodeau, he's not the right choice for his job just because we're not a contender. I feel like if it was a contending for a championship, a playoff, whatever, I feel like we need a coach who's going to develop specifically R.J. Barrett, and this is why I would like Jason Kidd because he did good with Giannis when he was in Milwaukee. So I feel like Jason Kidd is my first choice, and if not, then Atkinson. But Tibbs, I just feel like that's the typical Knicks. They're just going for the big names, But that's all I really got to say. I'm not a big Tibbs guy. Jason Kidd first, and then second for Kenny Atkinson. I just want to know what you think.
Listen, I think there's people who like Kidd. Like I said in the past, I think a lot of people are giving credit to Jason Kidd for, Giannis's development, especially moving him to the point forward and really accentuating his skill sets there. A lot of people didn't like how the Bucks played defense under Jason Kidd. And we're going to get into that defensive talk in a second because under Budenholzer, Bucks have a historically good defense right now. In terms of defensive rating, since they started tracking that stat in 1990, Bucks are third right now all time in terms of defensive rating. So we're going to talk about that. But do you guys, do people trust Jason Kidd? He's had 2 head coaching opportunities in a very small window. What happened? What happened with Jersey? What happened with the Bucks? Why Jason Kidd is no longer there, and now he's with the Lakers trying to climb back into things. According to reports, the Knicks were impressed with Kidd's interview. I don't think he's gonna get the gig, and I also don't think that Thibodeau's not a development coach. I think Thibodeau's a coaching lifer. I think development is in his blood. You look at some of those Bulls players, Jimmy Butler's, Luol Deng was an all-star under Tibbs. Obviously, D Rose was on the descent, was already an all-star coming into the league, just a natural-born stud. But obviously playing on the Tibbs, he was a solid player. You look at Kirk Heinrichs, you look at those guys. I think Tibbs can definitely develop. Obviously, Towns and Wiggins never really progressed under him. But maybe, maybe that's them. Maybe that's them. So, we shall see what happens. But in terms of defense, I was talking about that Bucks defense. In terms of defense, a lot of people look to Tibbs as the defensive guru, and rightfully so. But what about Kenny Atkinson? What about Kenny Atkinson on the defensive end? The Nets had the 8th ranked defense in the league under Kenny Atkinson. And we looked at a couple films. Shout out to KnicksFanTV, Haney throwing the film together. And here's what the Nets did. On a lot of their plays, they ran what's called drop coverage. You see DeAndre Jordan down here dropped off deep off of Valanciunas. They're trying to guard the rim, right? A lot of teams. This is not a unprecedented defense. A lot of teams in the league are doing this. This is the Bucks defense. This is what the Knicks do. These teams, they're trying to guard off the highest percentage shot in the league, which is the layup, the dunk, and also prevent free throws, right? Those are the highest percentage points in the league. So what the Nets do is they're gonna drop off DeAndre Jordan to help protect the rim. And as you see here, he's giving Valanciunas a whole lot of room here to shoot that 3. And yes, in the NBA, Valanciunas, he's capable of knocking that down, but it's a shot that you'll live with. You'll live with that other team's 5 taking those 3s. So again, what Atkinson is trying to do here is he's trying to protect that rim, dropping DeAndre Jordan off and allowing his man to shoot that 3. Now, what they're also going to do is, here you see it again. You see Jared Allen sagging off of Ayton here, letting him have what he wants because he wants to protect that rim, go get that defensive rebound, and start the break. Now, when you look at, if I skip up to 156 here, here's what the Nets are going to do here. Coming off that pick and roll, obviously you're going to see Jared Allen in that drop coverage, and you're going to see Wilson Chandler cheating off of his man DeMar DeRozan because he knows he's not going to kill you off of the 3-point line. You're also seeing Karis LeVert here cheating off of DeJounte Murray because, again, these guys aren't going to kill you from 3. So here's how they're going to help wall off that paint and protect the rim. So you're going to get some help coverage here from Wilson Chandler to make it a tough shot. Now, on these drop coverage schemes, obviously you're going to give up a lot of mid-range and you're going to give up a lot of floaters, but those are lower efficiency shots. So you're going to live with that. Here's another example right here. You're going to see Karis LeVert. His man is DeJounte Murray right here. He's going to cheat off of him on the 3-point line off the wing and come and help DeMar DeRozan, come and help Jared Allen guard DeMar DeRozan, who's looking for some fast break buckets. And they're able to hold him to a tough mid-range shot. So that's what Atkinson is going to do. Another thing that Atkinson did with the Nets is they're going to play the percentages. Atkinson is a analytics guy. So what they're going to do is they're going to dip under the screens on some shooters that are not particularly good off the dribble. Here's what they did with Jaylen Brown a couple times in this game against the Celtics. As you see here, they drop off the screen. They're going to let him have that. They're going to live and die with that. drop off the screen so they're not going to get beat off the dribble. And you still have your rim protecting DeAndre Jordan playing at home, playing that safety coverage to make sure they don't get beat. So that was another staple of the Atkinson defense. And again, when you're playing in these drop coverage schemes, you're going to give up a lot of mid-range shots. You're going to give up a lot of mid-range shots. And so that's the objective of the Atkinson scheme. Now, a lot of people ask, like, you see DeAndre Jordan kind of staying at home in the paint, or Jared Allen, where's the 3 seconds? Well, the way that they get around that is by either jumping out the paint, within that 3-second boundary, or tagging that cutter coming across the middle or wherever they are. Once you tag your man, that clock kind of resets. Once you tag your man. Another thing that they want to do on drop coverage is they want to cut off that cutter. Right? They want to stop that off-ball action. And so that's another advantage of having a DeAndre Jordan. See how he does here against Jaylen Brown. He kind of cuts off a potential pass to the middle to cut off that easy bucket, that easy access to the basket. Here it is again, Jared Allen. See him on Jokic. He kind of hedges on Jamal Murray, tries to cut that pass off, and forces Jokic into a low efficiency, low percentage, mid-range shot. So, listen, there's a lot of criticism for Atkinson for the next season. And again, I don't think we really know why in particular he was canned. But one of the areas where they did fairly well under him statistically was on the defensive end. Finishing with the 8th ranked defense under Atkinson's reign. So is that a preferred method for the Knicks? Is Atkinson's defensive style a preferred method for the Knicks? Obviously, yeah, you know, against good shooting teams, you're going to get beat. But is that a philosophy that, you know, would benefit the Knicks? Is that a philosophy that would benefit the Knicks? Now, when we go to, if you look at Thibodeau's defense, if you look at Thibodeau's defense, they're going to, with Minnesota, they're running a drop coverage as well, but a little bit higher. In this case, it's Karl-Anthony Towns. He's dropping off the pick and roll a little bit. You see Trae Young here. D-Rose trying to cut around the screen. And they're trying to force that floater. Taj Gibson tags Collins, which is key on the drop coverage. You got to make sure that you are tagging that roll man, making sure that you're going to impede his progress to make sure that he doesn't have a free and clear shot at the basket. It's another example, forcing DeRozan to a mid-range shot. So what they're doing is they're going to drop that coverage. They're going to wall off the paint. A lot of no middles defense, right? Because they want to protect that rim. But now the difference between what Thibodeau's running now, what he did run with Minnesota, is they're going to be helping guys off the weak side, off the corner, and off the wing. They're going to be helping off the corner and off the wing. And what that's going to do is that's going to leave guys wide open on the weak side for open 3 points, for open 3-pointers. And that's the biggest, from the critic standpoint, that's the biggest knock on Thibodeau is that strong side defense that works so well with the Bulls. Can that work in this modern NBA? Can it work? Because what happens is once you have these two help side defenders cheating off their man, you got to be able to either be athletic enough to recover to the 3-point line or have that awareness to know where your guy's at all times. And this is a good example of it right here. See this pick and roll here. He's got Taj guarding the paint, and you also have Covington. He's tagging Nerlens Noel. And that leaves Paul George with a wide open look at the 3-point line. So with the spacing that we have now, where you have, sometimes you have stretch 4s, stretch 5s out there. And on top of that, when you factor in that offensive has gotten a lot more sophisticated in terms of off-ball movement, cutting, so on and so forth, the critics are questioning whether or not Tibbs' style still fits in today's NBA. You look at Minnesota, they were ranked 27th, 25th, and 26th under Tibbs' leadership from the defensive standpoint. So, that's the question. I almost feel like the Knicks are better off with an Atkinson style of defense because it's a little less aggressive. No, it doesn't force a lot of turnovers, but I feel like if you don't have the guys with the proper awareness, the proper skill sets, the athleticism defensively to communicate on the Tibbs' scheme, not sure if it's going to work that well under this team. So if Tibbs is the guy and that's the scheme that he's going to go with, he has to figure out how to tailor it to his personnel to make sure that these guys are playing the best that they can on defense. Another action here from Tibbs. This is what he was known for, the ice in the pick and roll. Ice in the pick and roll is basically pushing that ball handler to the baseline and again cutting off his access into the paint. And this is what they're doing right here. The Knicks run this too under Mike Miller as well. Ice in the pick and roll. And as you see here, you have Saric and you have, I'm not sure who number 8 is. Is that? No, I don't think that's Taj. These guys are helping off the corner and the wing. And you have Olynyk here. You have Tyler Johnson here. Open for threes. So, that's the question for the Thibodeau defense. Is the scheme still effective for this modern game when your lineups are getting more talented from a shooting perspective and you have more sophisticated schemes by these teams on the offensive side? So, just some food for thought. Back to the phones. Esau from Buffalo. Esau, how you feeling, man?
How you doing, CP?
Good, man. What's going on?
Well, I just got a couple points. First of all, let's RIP Fizz in the basketball situation. He's gone. He dead. It's over for him. Second of all, I like Fizz and Atkinson, but then my question becomes, how would they work together? Because they both seem to have strong personality.
Very true.
And my other point is, if we can get CP3 for what's that boy name? Jesus, Kevin Knox.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can see us getting CP3. To get CP3 is going to CP3 is about 2 steps from Shady Pine. So, just want to know what you think about that, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call.
And listen, CP3's still in his old age and everything. You're not getting CP3 for Knox, man. So you guys got to pay to play, man. Even though he's an older dude, it's just not gonna happen, man. It's just not gonna happen that way. You're still gonna have to pay. You're just hoping that it doesn't cost that much. Now, on your points, can Atkinson and Tibbs ticket coexist? That's a good question. Like you said, they're both headstrong leaders, alpha dogs, so to speak. Can they coexist? So we'll see. That's a very good question. Very good question. And again, I go back to Miller's comment, Leon Rose's comment on, what he wants in a head coach, and he wants that person to be, a collaborative figure with the front office. Kenny Atkinson was set to be on the same page with Sean Marks. What happened? Again, what happened? I don't know, man. And for more on Kenny Atkinson, we had two good conversations with Nets beat reporter Anthony Puccio, Nets insider, and Nets season ticket holder, my guy Yves Darboz. Both of those conversations, if you click on the eye icon in the top right-hand side, we go deep into why they felt Atkinson was fired, what they felt like he could bring to the Knicks, what they even felt like he brought to the Nets up until his departure. So those are good conversations. Make sure you click on that eye icon, catch up on the conversation. My guy Anthony Parasol in the chat said CP got the telestrator out. Yeah, just a little film breakdown. You know what I mean? We got to see what we getting into. We got to see what if these investments are going to pay off. But again, it's very interesting because, like I said, as much as Atkinson got his knocks, that defense on a whole, maybe I know Net fans will probably argue in certain situations it didn't work, but I almost feel like playing that type of conservative way will fit the Knicks, because yes, you're gonna have some help side coverage, but it's a bit more calculated of a risk. Whereas Thibodeau's scheme, it seems like a lot of times you're really selling out that weak side to, yes, wall off the paint and make it harder for the ball handler to either make a pass or get a high efficiency shot, high percentage shot. But at the same time, are you going to have guys that are going to be able to have that awareness to make the proper rotations, not overcommit on the weak side, and make sure that they're protecting the 3-point line as well? Make sure that they're doing that. Because Miller's defense is almost similar to Tibbs, but with the exception that he's only bringing one help side defender from the corner. Now, what teams are doing with the Knicks to counter that is that they would bring better shooters, put better shooters on that weak side corner. So if you cheat off of that, you get buried. It's an interesting debate. Very interesting debate. But again, that drop coverage type of defense is what the Milwaukee Bucks are deploying right now. Number one defense in the league, and the team that gives up the most 3-pointers in the league. How do you factor that? Milwaukee Bucks, number one defense in the league, give up the most 3-pointers and the most attempts. Why? Because they only give up 60% at the rim, and they only allow 22% of all shots to come to the rim. So they are an elite rim protecting team. Nets finished second in that category of rim protection. Nets finished second in that category. Layups, dunks, free throws. Layups, dunks, free throws. That's still the name of the game. 3-pointers are very much in vogue for sure. And yes, you still need to account for it. But the name of the game is protecting that paint, protecting the rim. So, it's an interesting debate, and to see how Tibbs can potentially succeed here if that is indeed the system that he intends to impart on this team, implement on this team. Atkinson was also running some 2-3, some zone concepts as well, little box one as well. So Atkinson's not afraid to mix it up. All right, back to the phones. Let's go to Missouri. Justin from Missouri in here. Justin, how you feeling?
I'm good, man. How you doing today, CP?
Good, man. What's going on?
Man, not much. Look, I got two scenarios here, and, it's definitely for free agency and others for the draft. I'm just trying to figure out, before starting with free agency, like, can you think a package with, a Knox and maybe a Mitch or something like that could, bring in some type of, star power such as a, Book or a CP or a K-Love and as far as the draft, I mean, if somewhere between that top five, are we definitely going to, maybe keep that pick, or do you think that's some trade value alone with that, what we got going on? Because I know Leon and I know the guys, they're going to make the moves. We got the people in there, but I definitely want to get your opinion on that. Thank you, CP. Thank you a lot.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate Justin, man. New caller from Missouri. Shout out everybody down in Mizzou. Justin, you're not going to get those 2K trades off, man. Y'all got to chill with the 2K trades. This is the second person now that turned Kevin Knox into Paul Pierce and is thinking he's going to get some for all of a sudden, Kevin Knox is the Paul George second coming. And he's going to bring back Book. Now, listen, not to laugh, all right? Not to laugh. All opinions are respected here on KnicksFanTV. But I'm just cautioning you guys. You guys got to be realistic. You guys got to be realistic. When you're looking at trying to get these star players, number one, you have to factor in competition. Who out there can give Phoenix the best package, right? Because you have to figure competition, you have to figure leverage. Do the Knicks have any leverage? Does Booker have any leverage? They have zero. He has 4 years remaining on his contract after this year. He just signed a new one. Just signed a 5-year deal. He has 4 years remaining. So you have no leverage there. So what does that mean? That means you got to pony up picks. You got to pony up Mitch, whoever it is. All your good players. They might want RJ in the deal. Listen, we got to be realistic. The Knicks have no players that anybody wants, with the exception of maybe Mitch and maybe RJ. And I would say maybe at this point. Kevin Knox is not a draft asset. He's not draft stock right now. Salute to Kev. Jay in Florida's down there. He's getting them right. So that's just what it is. Right now, we got to develop our draft capital right now. So now, some people think, what one of the callers, I forgot his name, the last show we had, felt like this was all a smokescreen and maybe a top 3 pick. Maybe Leon is planning to package that to try to get a Book. Maybe that's a less costly scenario. You package that and maybe a lottery pick next year. I don't know, just to start as a framework to get Book. Who knows? Not out of the realm of possibility there. So very interesting. But Kevin Knox, I'm gonna tell y'all, man, he's here to stay. Kevin Knox is here to stay. Let's hear from my man Jay Boogie in the building. Jay, how you feeling, man?
I'm good, man. Hope everybody healthy and safe, man. But breaking news real quick, man. CP just got the lead head coaching job, man, for the New York Knicks. You got to see how he breaking down them X's and O's. I like what you're doing, man.
We got to switch it up, man. We got to switch it up a little bit, Jay. You know what I mean? I had to break out the telestrator and break down some film a little bit.
That's how you stay versatile. I'm gonna step to the side real quick, man, because somebody need to give our double 3 captains some props, man, because a lot of talk we don't be giving our big man some props, man. And every night when Pat Ewing stepped on that floor, man, he gave it his all. I don't care if we win or lose. He left 110% on that floor.
And do people not realize that he is the starting center on the greatest team ever assembled with Mike, Magic, Karl Malone, Barkley, and the big captain in the middle? I just wanted to say that real quick.
True story.
I don't know what Rose is doing. He act like he don't have no confidence in Thibodeau's supporting cast. He keep trying to put other coaches and stuff with him. Who to say that they gonna mesh together, man? You know, Thibodeau had his own squad down there in Chicago. He took all Ed Pickney, Bill Cartwright, all of them over to Minnesota. So who to say that they gonna mesh together? You know what I'm saying? And he trying to mix these guys up. You know what I'm saying? I really don't like that, and I really don't like the point we trying to bring somebody to New York that's already been there because they know the city. Everybody know the city, man. We are the city, New York. We don't need to bring somebody back because they was there before. We need to have a coach that know how to break down that footage like you was just doing. Give us some X's and O's. Know how to call timeout. Know how to call plays. Know how to deal with the media. Know how to take the pressure off the team when the team is not playing good. That's what we need, somebody on the sideline that's a real speaker, man. Not just being heard about what they talking about. And CP3, yeah, we need CP3. They keep talking about LeBron for the MVP and talking about the Greek for the MVP. CP3 was really the MVP of this year because if you take them off in Oklahoma, they would have been nowhere where they at, no 50, not even in the playoffs, man. Yo, peace and love, man. Just want to shout you out and put that thumbs up for your boy. And when I hang up, I'm going to hit that cash up for your boy. I'm out.
Appreciate it, Jay. Appreciate that, Jay Boogie. Always supporting, man. Jay Boogie always supporting, man. And appreciate it on the Cash App. You know, a lot of you guys send the super chats through the YouTube, which is, you know, very convenient and everything. But truth be told, YouTube does take a portion of that. So Jay Boogie, some others, they'll send their donations through the Cash App. We also accept Venmo and PayPal. The links are also in the video description. Like I said, all the donations come in and it just covers overhead. Just covers simple overhead. We carry some overhead to carry the show. And again, we do it for the love of the game, for the passion of it. You know, we're not in it to get rich or anything like that. So the monetary donations are very much appreciated. But again, Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal will allow us to kind of absorb all of the cash rather than giving YouTube a cut of everything. But still convenient to do it that way. And like I said, for those of you that, you know, it's hard times right now, you know, financially you might not be able to support, there's other ways to do it. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Very important. Share these videos. Very important. Whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, email somebody, text somebody, call somebody. The more people we bring in, the better the show becomes. And that's how you see in this thing roll as a movement. Right now, we're looking at 20.4. We're looking at 20,400 subscribers. We got 800 people in the chat. People tuning in worldwide. Knicks fans, non-Knicks fans. That's just love and support. And so that's what we need to keep this thing going. Like I said, we're going to build a website up. There's big things happening for KnicksFanTV. On Jay's point, you know, number one, I'm happy that the captain is getting a lot of recognition. Obviously, as time has been removed from his playing days, and yeah, we're a long time removed from when he was last here, 20 years now. But as we've gotten farther and farther away, we've come to appreciate him a lot more. And that wasn't always the case, especially when he was leaving. So it's good to see that he's getting that acknowledgement, you know, because a lot of times it's just like, well, he didn't win, he missed the finger roll, all of that. But you know, Patrick Ewing was a beast, and so we got to give him that respect. You know, Jay said it's not about being a New Yorker or being here in terms of selecting Tibbs or Atkinson. I disagree, because I feel like it's not about them knowing the city, but it's about them understanding the pressure, right? And it's about them understanding the magnitude of the situation. That's something that I don't think Fizz really understood. Fisher didn't understand it. Hornacek definitely didn't understand it. You know, it's about understanding the responsibility. And like you said, handling the media, handling the pressure. And that's why I think an Atkinson Tibbs ticket would be beneficial. Now, can they mesh together As coaches, that's another story. And that's a very valid question. Very valid question. So, yeah, good call. Good call from Jay Boogie. Always bringing the facts. And definitely appreciate that. How many people we got in the chat? 800. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Definitely hit that thumbs up button for you boys. As we see here, Mitchell Robinson on the screen. And Mitch is on his way to an NBA record. Mitch is on his way to an NBA record, 74.2% field goal percentage, passing the late, great Wilt Chamberlain. Mitch, please, the Block Nest Monster, Money Mitch, a record-setting historic sophomore campaign. And, you know, I've been in Mitch's corner since he got here, man. Happy for the kid, proud of him, proud of what he's brought to this team. He brings an edge to this team. Man in the paint. You know what I mean? He knows his role, and I thought that's what led to his maturation, especially in the second half of the season. You know, Mitch spent a lot of time on the bench. He didn't start that many games. He still ended up averaging more minutes than Taj, but coming off the bench, you know, Mitch's issues was with discipline. You know, the foul trouble, not really having good touch around the rim, just snagging down offensive rebounds. But I think as in setting screens was another weakness of Mitch. But I think as the season went on, you really saw his value. You setting better screens. He was much more forceful on the offensive glass. And I thought there was a point where he really just recognized his strength and his dominance out there and how dominant he can be. And so it was good to see Mitch you know, break that record. And it's also interesting to see him do that when they didn't run too many pick and rolls for him. He was ranked 35th in pick and roll opportunities in the league. But in terms of finishing, he's in the 97th percentile. You know, he's in the 97th percentile. 92% of his field goals were at the rim. So now the question is, what the fans want to see is he going to step it up? Is he going to move his game out? What are the expectations for Mitch in year 3? All right, we've been seeing all the workout videos. And I love the workout videos because people are so judgmental on it. It's like, you know, listen, he's got to be working on this. He's got to be working on that. The competition isn't good. So I usually just post it just to get a kick out of people, see what they say. I mean, I don't get too high or low on workout videos. It's really nothing to judge. But clearly, you know, he's working. He's working on his perimeter game. And what will that mean? What are your expectations for Mitch for year 3 in terms of his game evolving? Like, personally, me, like, I'm not expecting to see him doing this in year 3. He's not going to come out and be Anthony Davis, right? But I would like to see him shoot the ball just a little bit more to keep defenses honest. You know, I think from some of you guys that have watched the games as much as I have, you've seen situations where he gets stuck when those dribble handoffs get jammed up and he's just sitting there, you know, out on the perimeter. All the spacing is tied up for the teammates getting tied down, and he's looking for an outlet. You know, you want to see him shoot. You want to see him shoot that. But his primary game is a finisher, a rim runner, and a shot blocker. Those are his strengths, and I want to see him continue to accentuate on those strengths, and then running more pick and rolls for him. Get more shooters so that you can space the floor better for him. But like I said, at the end of the day, having that jump shot, having that freedom to shoot it, to be out there on the floor in crunch time, it'd be nice to see. Be nice to see. As a bailout, for sure. You know, as a bailout. What do you think? You know, it's gonna come a time when they're going to have to pay him. What's his value? on the market. Right now, Capella's getting about $18 million a year. Capella signed a 5-year, $90 million deal. Now, he's averaging almost a double-double himself. Mitch has got to get up there a little bit. I think Mitch is at about 9 and 7. Capella's at about 18. Gobert, obviously, who's, the cream of the crop in terms of, the rim running big. Gobert's at about 25. Where's Mitch's number? Is it 15? 13? 15? Capella's at 18. Where's Mitch's number? Because I think at the end of this year, I got to look into his contract situation. But there's going to come a time where he's going to need to get paid. What is his value? It seemed like Capella's value with the Rockets ended up being diminished to the point where they traded him. Golden State did a lot of good things to cut that pick and roll off. And once they did, Capella was kind of useless out there. So how does Mitch avoid that? Very interesting question. How does he avoid being that one-dimensional, that when they cut off your bread and butter, you can still be an asset, a plus on the offensive side? So, very interesting. It's a very, very interesting debate. But make no mistake, the Block Nest Monster is a Knick. And I hope that they continue to further his development. Last caller of the night. We're going to go to New Row. Kemet, what's going on?
Yo, you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear, bro. Go ahead.
Okay. Thanks for having me. Long time listener for about 2 years now. I was going to talk about roster construction. I'm kind of happy you talked about Mitch a bit, because I think one thing we forget about, we always talk about, we need shooters, we need a point guard. All that's true, but what we need are triple threats. Guys who can pass, dribble, and shoot. You look at the Warriors, you look at the Raptors, all those guys could pass, dribble, and shoot. You didn't know what they were going to do. They were a threat from every position they took. I think those are the kind of players we need to add, absolutely.
I agree, and appreciate the call, Kemet. Positionless basketball. Having that flexibility of guys that can handle it, guys that can move without the ball, guys that can pass it. That's what Golden State does exceptionally well, 1 through 5. 1 through 5. They go get Denny in the draft. That's another upgrade for them. I think they'll end up maybe Denny, maybe Wiseman. But you're absolutely right. Knicks needs some more well-rounded players. You look at the Raptors; all those guys look like they're the same guy. they all look like Siakam, man. They all built like athletically, like Siakam. So, definitely right on that. The length, the athleticism, ability to put the ball on the floor, ability to pass it, so on and so forth. But, Raw Hebrew Remen says in the chat, so they're hard to come by. Yeah, it's tough. Tough to get those guys. And there's three dimensionals. Definitely tough to get those guys. Other news, the lottery. It was announced that the lottery has been moved up. The draft lottery is no longer August 25th. The draft lottery is going to be August 20th. Draft lottery is going to be August 20th. We are in the pre-planning phases to have a watch party right here on KnicksFanTV. I'm going to have Macri here. I'm going to invite David Zenon, Spencer, the whole gang. Watch the lottery, take your phone calls, go right into a mock draft, and hopefully we'll have some prizes, giveaways, all that type of stuff. So the lottery party will be here on KnicksFanTV, no doubt about it, August 20th. So I don't know if it's Christmas. I don't know if it's Halloween, but they've moved the date up. So let's see. Draft is still October. Yes, draft is still October 16th, I believe. Draft is still October 16th. Also, FIBA Frank looks like he's making a comeback. There was a flyer going around the internet this afternoon. A French summer league, a Miro league, out in France. And Frank, you got Sekou Demboya and the gang out there. So it looks like Frank is going to be participating in some summer hoops out in his home country. So let's see if the French Prince can continue to work on his game and see what he's going to bring to this potential Tibbs, potential Atkinson, potential. Whenever we get a coach, when will Frank be able to utilize his defensive talents? We shall see. All right. 790 in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Definitely want to salute everybody for coming in. Also, new in stores. You know, COVID-19 is still ravaging our country, our society. So for that, we got the KnicksFanTV face mask in the store. Nice material, nice stretch material. You can rep the brand. You can get yours in the store. Be protected. And the good thing about these, $1 goes to charity, for children's charity fighting hunger. So this is a partnership between us and Teespring. $1 of every purchase goes towards a charity fighting children's hunger. So JB33 says upside down. Yeah, I know, man. This is a live show, man. You know what I mean? Can't always be on point. So, yeah, man. Just came in the mail. My joint just came in the mail. It's nice. You know what I mean? Very nice quality. So, salute to everybody that has copped. A lot of people copped theirs already and got theirs already. So definitely appreciate that. And yeah, I think that's about it. Also, the NBA court has been revealed for the bubble. As you see here, they got the Black Lives Matter insignia on the court. They have looks like they got a DJ booth already set up. So games will be starting back up July 31st, man. What do you guys think about the new court? So they're claiming that they're gonna have some new state-of-the-art camera angles, so on and so forth. So looks like the NBA is ready to make the proper adjustments and get ready to play. NBA's coming back. Who do you guys like? Who do you guys like in this bubble, man? Who do you guys like in this bubble restart? So it's a brand new season for me, man. I feel like these guys are they're practically starting fresh. So I'm gonna go with the Clippers. Will the Bucks come out of the East? I don't know. Listen, I'm not gonna count out Boston. I'm not gonna count out the Raptors. And lastly, Miami might have something to say. I'm not gonna just say it's Milwaukee's to take, man, because something about this stage, even though he's injured, I just feel like this is Kemba's time, and he's never gotten this opportunity yet to shine on the big stage. He's always been with the bums, with the Hornets. This Celtics team, man, I just got my eyes on them with Tatum taking that leap. Jaylen Brown's tough, and Kemba. To me, this is Kemba's stage, man. I just can't count out the Clippers' depth. Can't count out the Clippers' depth. Somebody, Anthony said the Phillies dangerous. I gotta see how Embiid and Simmons coexist out there. They're making some lineup changes. Trying to bring an extra ball handler out on the court. Take it out of Simmons' hands a little bit. I'm not sure if they'll do that full time, but I'm not sure about Philly, man. I thought last year was a better year for them, but we'll see. I think this is anybody's ball game. No crowd. You have injuries. You have the psychological impact. How a guy is gonna feel, playing against other guys. No fans. You're not in your home territories. Neutral ground. For some reason, I'm just thinking this is Kemba's time to shine. I think the Lakers are finished. Man. So I think losing Avery Bradley's tough. Losing Rondo is tough just from a leadership standpoint. Can't count out LeBron, obviously. Somebody said the Nuggets. Strawberry Jiggle said the Nuggets. Jokic is coming back a brand new person. You know what I mean? You got Jokic lost a ton of weight. So it's going to be very interesting, man. I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, it would be better if the Knicks are in it. Always better when the Knicks are in it, but it is what it is. So that will be that. And yeah, that's it, man. So to everybody for tuning in once again. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Let me know what you think. Who is your coaching preference? Is it Tibbs? Is it Atkinson? If they go with the assistant coach, that former head coach as an assistant coach, who's the pairing that you want? Leave a comment in the chat. Leave a comment in the video on the replay. Thanks for tuning in. And once again, everybody for tuning in. So to everybody from Facebook, never forget my people from Facebook. Oh, we topped over 800. So let's make sure we keep that same energy. Let's make sure we keep that same energy, man. And appreciate everybody for tuning in. Zach Patton, appreciate it. Anthony Paraso, Ernesto, all the mods, definitely appreciate it. Who else? Joel John, Pranav, always appreciate the support. Dave, great job. TM, great job. Arnold, great job. Jack Rose, appreciate it, man. Definitely appreciate it. JB33, definitely appreciate it. And stay tuned, man. We'll catch up again over the weekend. CP from KnicksFanTV signing out. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Subscribe. Fill out the mailing list. Please fill out the mailing list. And we'll tune in with you guys. We'll check back in with you guys over the weekend.